I can do it. Show? Yeah. Wait. Yeah, we are. Yep.
Alright, listen up. Listen up. We only have one day for this particular chapter. And it's about food chains and food webs and ecological pyramids. How energy flows through ecosystems. Now this shows a simple food chain, and it doesn't actually show where this food chain starts, which you probably should know. Usually in the oceans, food chains start with what's called phytoplankton. Phytoplankton are little organisms that float around in the ocean, and they absorb sunlight and do photosynthesis, and they're green. They're usually microscopic. Microscopic algae in the oceans. Anna Meredith, are you with me? Have you ever seen the water looks kind of green in places?
Algae.
That's the algae. That's the phytoplankton. And then the zooplankton eat the phytoplankton. Zooplankton is like plankton on SpongeBob. You know plankton on SpongeBob? He's a zooplankton. Zooplankton, you can also say it that way. And the zooplankton are usually microscopic also. So you can't see these, but they're out there. And then things like this shrimp eat the zooplankton. And then the fish will eat the shrimp, and a bigger fish will eat that fish, and a bigger fish will eat that fish, and finally the food chain will end with maybe like a bird that's at the top of the food chain, or a bear or something like that.
Hey, Gigi, you gotta say.
Yes, Cohen.
I have a question that is not on topic, but it kind of is on topic at the same time.
Okay.
Is it zoology or zoology?
It can be pronounced both ways.
Okay.
Whatever hurt the guys.
Good words.
So, all food chains end in a carnivore that's at the top of the food chain. And we will see why that is coming up when we talk about the energy that goes through a food chain. And that is what this is showing. This is showing what's called an ecological pyramid. Often, food chains are shown by pyramids. Now, each level of the pyramid, we call that a trophic level. So this is trophic level 1, this is trophic level 2, this is trophic level 3, this is trophic level 4. Usually it only goes up to about 4 or 5 trophic levels in an ecosystem. And the reason why that is because energy is lost at each level. The energy is first absorbed from the sun by this is the bottom level. Now this one's showing a level down here. These are your decomposers. We'll talk about those in a minute. But the bottom of each food chain are the photosynthesizers. The organisms that take in the sunlight. That's these guys. They're called your primary producers. They produce food. That's why we call them producers. And they absorb sunlight and produce food and grow. That's at the bottom of the food chain. That's trophic level 1. Your next level up is trophic level 2. That's the herbivores. They're also called the primary consumers. They eat the plants. And it shows insects and squirrels and birds. Those will all eat plants. The squirrels eat the nuts that are produced by the plants. The birds will eat the fruits that are produced by the plants. If you were to figure out how many primary producers there were out there in nature, and how many herbivores there were out there in nature, you'd find out that there's a lot more of these than there are of these. The reason why that is you have to eat a lot to build yourself. Insects have to eat a lot of plants to build their bodies. Squirrels have to eat a lot of nuts to make their bodies. And birds have to eat a lot of fruit. Think about all the food that you've eaten in your life just to make yourself.
You could fill up this entire room.
Yeah, it probably would. I think somebody calculated each person eats about 100 pigs a year. If you like to eat ham, it's a lot.
That's a lot of pig.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make sense.
Maybe it's 100 pigs in a lifetime.
That's
Maybe
gotta be
what
it, yeah.
I think it was 100 pigs.
100
in a
pigs in a
lifetime.
year is a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. But that's a lot of food. So you're eating a lot to build yourself. Where's the rest of the food go that you ate?
Waste.
A lot of it's waste. A lot of it's burn off as you're doing your activities. Think about my activities. I'm out there playing golf. I'm yelling at students. I'm writing tests. I'm running around chasing people. You know, there's a lot of things that I do. And all that burns calories and it burns up the food that I eat. So much of the food that I eat, I burn up in my everyday life. And there's very little left to make me. I weigh 150 pounds. I've probably eaten 1,000,000 pounds of food. I don't know how many pounds of food. I've eaten a lot. So the level below the organism is always bigger than the level that the organism is on. That's why pyramids start big and get smaller as they go to the top. And by the time you get to the top of the food chain, you can't support another level. There's just not enough of these organisms to support another level. So you always see food chains getting smaller as the energy that originally came from the sunlight kind of disappears as we go through the food chain. So here are your photosynthesizers on the first level, your primary producers. The second level is your herbivores. They eat the plants. The next level is your carnivores. They eat the herbivores. And then the final level being the top carnivores. These down here at the bottom are called producers. Anything that has to eat is called a consumer. You got your primary consumers, your secondary consumers, and your tertiary consumers. These are a lot of words to keep up with. It even gets a little bit more it can get more confusing if you use different words like predator. Which level do you think is the first predator? 10 points if you and your partners can tell me. This is level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Trophic level 1, trophic level 2, trophic level 3, trophic level 4. At which trophic level do you think is the first predator that you would run into? A predator is an animal that stalks and captures and eats another animal. 10 points if you can tell me, if you can get that right.
What do you mean run into?
The first predator that you would see as you go up the food chain, where would you finally see a predator? What level would it be on? The lowest level that a predator could be on. Does that make sense, Alex?
Yeah.
Orange has an answer.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Come on, let's discuss this purple group. Grace, what do you think?
Orange is incorrect.
Surya, what do you think?
Anyone else? The first level that you would see a predator
Let's
is an
try this one
animal
out.
that stalks and eats another animal.
Bro.
It eats another animal.
We're going with that one.
Purple correct. Anyone else?
Got it, guys.
They're not a bird?
Do we have one?
Hey, Surya, we got it.
It's usually like nuts all the way.
Going.
I don't have any birds.
Can you hand me the green?
Oh, wait, hang on.
Hey, hold on. Yellow correct.
Hey, Isabel, high five. I got it
Hang
right.
on, hang on.
Anyone else?
Okay, wait, yeah.
I need mine.
Going.
Okay, oh god, okay.
Kobe, hurry.
Going.
He's running.
I'm going.
Pink is incorrect.
Hey.
Oh!
Anyone else?
Kobe.
So the predator that eats another animal would have to be on this level.
There's a bird.
It's a carnivore. Predators are all carnivores. Predators eat other animals.
Isn't that what we
Anything on this level is eating plants.
That's what.
So it wouldn't be on level 2, they eat plants.
Oh, I thought
Level 3 eats animals.
I thought
Why is there a
I
bird
thought
on
it was
level
going-
2? Birds eat
Because the bird is eating fruit off the tree.
But
I thought
birds
carnivores
also
were-
hunt and eat meat.
Yeah.
But if the bird was hunting and eating meat, in this example, it would be on level
That's a
3.
trick question.
That-
Should
that
we
was
get
a trick
zero?
question.
No,
You
none,
should
no
take off
points, but
points.
none taken.
No, but let me ask you another question. How about this?
Yep.
On which level would you find,
I'm doing one now. I'm doing it.
on which level would you find a secondary carnivore? Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Secondary carnivore.
Maybe.
Level 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Sure, I don't know.
What's a secondary card?
That's what you guys think.
Colby, do you think you got it? It's very zoomed in. Do you think you got it?
No. See, I could ask this on quizzes.
Hey, this side of the room. Everyone. Say hi.
Secondary carnivore. Green
Come
is
on.
correct.
No one in body's gonna get you.
Orange is incorrect.
Oh, I thought we were.
Pink is incorrect.
What? There's not a fifth. Are we going the wrong way?
Purple is correct.
That was
Dang.
Yellow is correct.
I just read
Don't.
Here we go.
High five,
Let me show you
Sarah.
the secondary carnivore. So, a carnivore
Had to film
eats
it all.
meat. There's your primary carnivore, your first level of carnivores. Your secondary carnivore will be at this level, level 4.
There's a fifth thing on the bottom.
That's
Shows
level
and
five.
level 5, bro.
Ah, this is level 1, level 2,
This diagram
level
is
3,
not
level
making sense.
4.
You should not count those last two.
Let's talk about decomposers. That's next.
Okay.
There are 3 types of decomposers out there.
I don't like many of them.
Scavengers roam around the land looking for dead animals. Vultures, flies, a lot of sharks do this. They find dead things and they eat them. Not all sharks do it, some do though. Here it shows a bunch of vultures eating a carcass. We call them scavengers, and that's one way of breaking down
Ew, I saw
and
that.
decomposing dead things is to eat their remains.
Vultures are gross.
You can imagine after the vultures eat everything they can, then there's just like all these dead feathers and bones and stuff left. What happens to those? Well, their bodies, their molecules are usually torn apart by what we call detritivores. Detritivores eat the remains of things that scavengers can't eat, and detritivores also tear up the dead remains of plants, like old leaves that have fallen and are decomposing, just kind of rotting there. A fallen tree has rotting wood. What's going to happen to that wood? Well, the detritivores get it. Earthworms and slugs, they, some of that material, that dead material, organic matter just kind of starts to rot away. It rains on it, it gets wet, the molecules come apart, and the molecules dissolve in the water, and you get a bunch of just dark muck at the bottom, on the forest floor. And that's, worms will crawl through that and eat it, and can make use of those molecules. And also you get what's called saprophytic decomposers, like bacteria and fungi, that absorb the molecules from these dead plants and animals into their bodies. If you remember, a fungus kind of looks like this. It's a bunch of threads. I tell you what, let me ask you another question. 10 points if you can tell me the name of the little threads in a fungus body. We've already talked about this a long time ago. Maybe you remember, maybe you don't. If you do remember, I'll give you 10 points. What are the little threads in a fungus body? Don't be looking it up. I'm not quizzing you on how well you look stuff up. Threads in a fungus body? Anyone know the name? We already studied this a long time ago.
We're gonna do it.
If you don't,
Aren't we,
it's
Grace?
okay. Don't answer. Oh, yellow.
Kobe, are you gonna do it?
Oh God. I'm gonna
Anyone
do it.
else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Alexine.
Got it.
Threads in a fungus body?
Wait. Is that?
Got it.
Kobe got it in.
Got it.
Wait,
No.
Being correct.
Kobe, don't sit down. Don't sit down. Kobe, don't sit down.
Wait. No.
Is it?
Oh.
No. Rhea, that's wrong.
That's wrong.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Going?
Okay. No. I know what it is.
Grace, you're so mean. Hey, can you say hi? This is Christina. She's a new kid.
Orange correct. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Christina, you're our hope. Christina!
Purple correct. So they're called the hyphae.
That's great.
The hyphae are little threads. And what they'll do is they'll absorb the molecules into their little bodies. All these molecules that are laying around in the soil from something that died, let's say there was a leaf there that died earlier, those molecules will be absorbed into the body of the fungus, and it'll cause the fungus to be able to grow even longer hyphae. And if the fungus hyphae grows even longer, it might reach another dead leaf and absorb even more. Are y'all with me back there? It seems like y'all might be talking.
That's the hyphae.
So there's your decomposers. Now you also need to know what a food web is. A food web is when we think about a bunch of organisms at the same time. For instance, here's some plankton, some zooplankton. Zooplankton are eaten by krill. They're eaten by the sand lance fish. They're eaten by the auklet. They're eaten by salmon. Zooplankton are eaten by a lot of stuff. And if you take each organism and you draw lines to what eats it, well, these organisms are interrelated with one another. The krill is also eaten by the sand lance. The phytoplankton are also eaten by the sand lance. And these lines, if you draw them from one organism toward what it eats, they'll cross one another and it'll look like a spider web. That's why we call it the food web. And the idea is all these organisms are interrelated to one another. What if you had a chemical that you spilled in the ocean that killed all the krill?
Then
What effects would that have on this ecosystem?
a lot.
It would have huge effects. If there weren't many krill around, then some of the auklets would probably die because they eat the krill. Some of the cephalopods would probably die because they eat the krill. Some of the sand lances would probably die because they eat the krill. Oh, and by the way, foxes eat auklets. So if there were less auklets, then there's going to be less foxes too. You see some of the impacts here? But the krill eat zooplankton, so that might cause more zooplankton to be around, which might actually raise the number of salmon, because salmon eat zooplankton. So all these things are interrelated. If one organism is removed, a lot of other organisms will be affected. That's important to understand. All the organisms in the food web are related to one another. You don't seem too excited about that, Erica. Food web? Good stuff, isn't it? No?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, here's another picture showing food webs. Look at the leaves there. Leaves are eaten by insects. They're eaten by deer. They're eaten by rabbits. They're eaten by mice. There's a lot of things that eat leaves. The nuts that are made in the oak trees are eaten by different organisms. You see how they cross one another? If you try and draw all this together, that's a food web.
Seaweed? I need more actors. What's this?
Now, we want to talk about ecological pyramids. There are 3 types of pyramids.
Can't really read it.
Ecological pyramids. You have pyramids of numbers, pyramids of mass, pyramids of energy. Let's take a look at a pyramid of numbers. Here's a pyramid of numbers. A pyramid of numbers is when you just count the number of organisms. In this pyramid, they've counted that there's 10,000 freshwater shrimp. There's 1,000 bleak, that's a type of fish. There's 100 perch, they eat the bleak. There's only 10 northern pike, and there's only 1 osprey that eats the pike. You see how the numbers go down as you go up the chain? There's less at each level. because energy is lost at each level. It's kind of a basic rule of thumb that about 90% of the energy is lost at each level. So you only have about 10% the number of organisms as you go up in the food chain. And we see that too if you measure the mass or the energy. What if you weighed all the shrimp out there? You might have 10,000 pounds of shrimp. You might only have 1,000 pounds at this level. You might only have 100 pounds at this level. You might only have 10 pounds at level 4. You might only have 1 pound at level 5. The mass goes down as you go up. So does the energy. You might measure 10,000 calories of energy in the shrimp, 1,000 calories of energy in the bleak, 100 calories of energy in the perch. Y'all see what I'm saying? This shows the energy comes into the producers, those are the plants, and at every level that you go up in the food chain, there's less and less energy available. The energy is lost as heat. This thing shows that the energy that came in through the plants is lost as heat. Everyone, feel your face. Do you feel the warmth?
That's
That's
your
heat.
face.
You know where that heat originally came from?
Brain.
Nope.
Your food.
Even before that?
The animals.
Ashley got it. Somebody over here said it.
Energy.
The sun. The energy that's coming off your body is heat right now. Look at the picture up here. The energy that's coming off of us as heat originally came in as the sun's energy. It came in and was absorbed by the plants, and then you ate the plants. Or you ate animals that ate the plants. Anyone have steak recently?
Yep.
Yeah.
You're eating cacao. The cow ate grass. The grass took in the energy from the sun. That energy went into the cow's meat. Then you ate the cow, and now that's coming out of your face as heat. That used to be sun energy. Isn't that cool? This heat used to be sun energy. That's so cool. Here you can see the levels here getting smaller and smaller as we go up the food chain. I'm going to show you a video, and then I'm going to ask you some questions about the video. It's a guy with a boring voice, but he has good information. So see if you and your group can follow what he's saying.
An ecosystem is a stable ecological unit composed of a living biotic component of interacting organisms and a non-living abiotic component that consists of physical factors of non-living parts of the environment. To be maintained, an ecosystem must have a steady input of energy. The source of energy for most ecosystems is the sun. The sun's energy is trapped and then transferred from one organism to another. The sequence of organisms through which energy and nutrients flow is a food chain. The food chain begins with plants, which are the producers in the food chain. During photosynthesis, plants use the sun's energy to produce sugars.
Whoops. Sorry, it's messed up right there.
Thus, in our example, plants are the first class of organisms to capture energy entering the ecosystem and use it for growth and reproduction. In relation to this flow of energy, the plants are classified as trophic level 1. The energy in trophic level 1 can be transferred to other organisms when the plants are consumed. The animals that eat producers, such as plants, can be referred to as primary consumers. Primary consumers make up trophic level 2 in the food chain. Mice are the primary consumers in our example. Animals called predators get their energy by eating other animals. A predator, such as a snake, becomes a secondary consumer when it eats a mouse who was a primary consumer. Secondary consumers make up trophic level 3. The animals in the third trophic level are often food for other predators. In our example, hawks prey on the snakes and thus form trophic level 4. They are the top predator in this food chain since no other predator eats them. So in this example, the food chain consists of 4 trophic levels. As energy passes from one trophic level to the next, approximately 90% is lost. This flow and loss can be expressed as an ecological pyramid.
Okay. You ready for the questions? Are you ready for questions? On that pyramid that you just saw, name the organism that was at trophic level 3. 10 points. Mike, will you get a light for me, please?
Light on?
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, it's very bright.
Name the organism that was at trophic level 3.
Yeah.
Sixth grader. That's my organism at that level. That's faster.
They could be, depending on what they ate. Trophic level 3. Purple is incorrect.
What?
Orange is correct. Did you need me or you just...
I was going to tell you, I'm bringing my class to you.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
going to explain to them what we're going to do.
Green correct.
Eventually, I show up everywhere. Don't I, Cody?
Pink correct. Anyone else?
Wait, can...
Trophic level 3? You can stop filming.
Okay. I've been filming
Did
for
you
a
have an
while.
answer?
How do you stop filming?